multiplication and addition. And when we move in, keep in mind when you're multiplying, what makes these so hard are these pesky little powers rules. Okay? When you have these powers rules, you are adding the like powers to each of the variables that's separate. So you're going to have 3 plus 2 here. That's how you get the 5. So the x variable is going to come off as 3 plus 2. Now, here's what makes this so hard. You are multiplying the constants, which are the numbers, but you are adding powers. And that seems very unfair, but that's the way it is. When you do this, this is positive 8 times negative 3, which is negative 24. This is x to the 5th, and this is a y here, but it's y to the 2nd power here, plus y to the 2nd power on the other side. So that soon becomes y to the 4th power. And this is x to the 5th power. That's how they're written. So you have negative 24, x to the 5th, y to the 24th. And you cannot mix these. You can't mix x and y, not here. When I say mix them, I mean you can't like, okay, well, x is 5 plus 4 is 9, and then do something like xy to the 9th. Okay, that you absolutely cannot do that. Keep your terms like terms and think through what you're doing. Okay, now when you get ready to do this one, you have x to the 3rd and x to the 2nd, which is going to give you x to the 5th power. You have y to the 2nd and y to the 3rd, which is going to give you y to the 5th power, and you leave these alone. You don't bother these, okay? So these are right, and then this is a positive 24 times 2. 24 times 2, 8 and 8, 48. This is your answer. So you move on, and I left some notes. You add the power of the x's, add the power of the y's, multiply the consonants. If there's something you can do, multiply consonants. If you can think of something like MC, AP. MC, AP. Multiply consonants, add the powers. Okay, remember, you're multiplying because your brackets are around the both. There is absolutely not another operator sign. And what is an operator sign? An operator sign is, how's everyone doing? Otherwise with their grades, I hope. In the meantime, I mean to ask you this. An operator sign, excuse me, that's sloppy. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, an operator sign is something that would be in the middle. So you have nothing here in the middle. You just have 2 brackets. When you have brackets like this, you are multiplying. Brackets back together. You guys know how I am with my writing. Here's a bracket. Here's a bracket. These brackets mean to multiply. Okay. When we move on to the next slide, we have a similar situation. So here is what changes, and I wrote it in a different color because I want you to look at the fact that this is an addition problem. When you add, okay, this is an addition sign. This times this is going to make this an addition sign, and this times this is going to make this an addition sign, and then these are additions. The only reason you are not multiplying is because of this sign right here. It is telling you subtract us. So we're going to move in on the next slide, and we're going to go and we're going to do this, and we're going to see how complicated it is, but at the same time how easy it can be. Negative 5 plus a positive 3 is how you have to look at this. There is nothing in front of this sign, so that means that it is positive. This is a -5 because of this. We're adding powers, or we're subtracting powers. Even though you're subtracting, you have to think of it as adding, because this is -5 minus 5 plus 3, so you put this here so you can remember that this is a -2. Your powers stay the same. I put on here, leave the powers alone, they stay the same. When you take your 5x cubed, 3x cubed, you get a -2x cubed. Leave the powers alone. Only because you were doing what? You're adding. If you were multiplying or you saw two brackets right next to each other, be a whole separate situation. You're adding. There is a sign in the middle, so you were adding or subtracting depending upon how you want to look at it. I call this addition, but it's really subtraction. But I have to, when I teach this, I teach it this way. Hey, we took care of this guy, this consonant. By the way, they're in descending order because your x to the third power is higher than any other power. Let's take care of this. Positive right here, 3x squared. Now let's take this, negative times a negative equals a positive. So that is positive 7x, 3x squared plus 7x squared is going to give you 10x squared. 6x is alone. This comes over here and this becomes -6x. This is a +9. Your consonants stay together. +9, the same negative comes over here. Negative times a negative equals a positive. So that is 9 plus 9 equals what? 18. Take a second to look at this, and then we'll come back and discuss on the next version what's going on. But please make a distinction between factoring and addition and multiplication, because they're different situations. So this is your final answer. -2x cubed, or to the third power, plus 10x squared, or 10x to the second power, minus 6x, plus 18. That's your answer. And you need to take a look at what goes on. Like terms, I'm going to do different colors. Like terms, don't forget to pick this guy up since you're going over here. And over here you got some like terms, and this guy is by himself, but this 6x, but this is a negative that has to come over here and make this come out to be -6x. So if you can look at what you're doing and get your mind to work this way and think about it, it's not such a hard thing to do.